thought you were going to go a week without me, folks. Congratulations. We are back, everybody. Welcome to Top 10. I am your host, Todd Kiper Jr., previewing, I believe, Week 5 of Fantasy Football and Dan Ingram's League. Congratulations. You made it this far. Every week is a week to be celebrated, to be here, to be joyous, to throw balloons in the air, confetti, sprinklers, all that kind of stuff. Poppers, stuff you're shooting off, fireworks, 4th of July, crazy stuff. Here we go. Christmas, Fantasy Football Week 5, might as well be Christmas. Of course, we have the treat of the power rankings in this league, so let's just get right into it. We're not going to waste your time. Football is right around the corner. Of course, it would have been better if I was prepared, would have looked in advance, would have scouted, would have done something to pull the rankings up right away. Obviously, haven't been on the app much today, besides when I got turned down for a trade. Anyways, looking here, look at the power rankings for the league. First is the Fresh Prince of Hilaire. Coming off a loss the week prior, gets a big win this week, moves up to the number 1 spot. Feed Big Cox. In number 2, Robert Kraft Defense Team. Kohler's team in number 3 remains stagnant there. Number 4, Return of the Walrus. Number 5, Screwed Up Drafted Odell. 6, Slater and Golterman, which is actually Jordan Allen's team. That's 3 names into one. That's called a 3-for-1. A good deal. Something you see often at a Best Buy, a Target, a Costco. A 3-for-1 kind of deal. Anyways, moving on, Super Spreaders 7 after a big loss last week in the Battle of Chaska High School. Number 8, Little Deuce Coops. Number 9, The Oracle. Number 9, 10, Trump Train. Number 11, Cactus Jack. Sent me a big drop for him. And number 12, Count of Chicago, holding down the basement of the rankings. Congratulations, Count of Chicago. Let's just hop right into the first matchup. And the first matchup this week is Robert Kraft Defense Team versus Michael Zimmerman's squad. That's right, Little Deuce Coops. Dan Ingram, the commissioner, real high on Zimmerman's team. Is it the fact that they live together, they know each other, that they're really good friends? I think that is a factor. Not as high necessarily on Robert Kraft Defense Team. About broke my TV there with a little punch, little fist, little Muhammad Ali, knocking down Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Famous call, sports. Here we go. Anyways, look at the matchup. Looking at the quarterback matchup, clear advantage here, though, for Michael Zimmerman. Lamar Jackson versus Gardner Minshew. The mustache does have its power, but it doesn't have as much power as a full beard, as noted by Ryan Fitzpatrick and Gardner Minshew himself. He gets a little patchy with the sideburns a little patchy. Therefore, Lamar Jackson has the advantage. Looking at the running back position, though, you got to go Brett Kohler here, Kamara and Kareem Hunt versus Ronald Jones, who's playing here in just a short amount of time, and James Conner. I'm not sure if that's a great move going against Philadelphia and that stacked defensive line in Philadelphia. Probably the reason you're going to win the NFC East, the worst division in football. But again, I think the running back position, you got 2 top 5 running backs there, going to be a big advantage for the defense team. Now, it's crazy. Now, looking at the receivers, though, this is where it really gets bad for Brett Kohler. Looking at Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, Jimmy Graham for Mike Zimmerman versus Michael Gallup, DJ Shark, Tyler Higbee, Robbie Anderson, Raheem Mostert. Mostert probably has the advantage there. That's a stacked running back group for Brett Kohler, and that's a stacked wide receiver room for Michael Zimmerman. Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, both AFC West guys, both been there the whole ride. West Coast, hippies, chills, sunflower shirts. You got all kinds of cool stuff coming at it. But anyways, that's an advantage with the wide receiver position. Overall, this matchup is 112.5 to 110 for Michael Zimmerman, the favorite. But I'm going to have to go against the odds here. That's right, going against the grain. Beans, corn, harvest time. It's that time of year in the Midwest. I'm going against Robert Kraft Defense Team with the upset this week. I think those running backs, 2 top 5 running backs, propel him to a victory. Now, moving on to our next matchup here. That's right. It's going to be the Super Spreader coming off a loss. Also, Trump Train coming off a loss. Both teams looking to bounce back after what was, not an ideal week for either team. Now, looking at the quarterback position, got to be advantage to Patrick Mahomes going up against Vegas at home. Again, home field advantage, not as big a deal this year. But I think Patrick Mahomes always beats up on the Raiders. Look for a big second quarter from Mahomes. Deshaun Watson coming off a coaching change facing Jacksonville this week. We'll have a big game. Expect 25 points from each of these guys. I think Mahomes gets 27. Therefore, the advantage goes to the Super Spreader, Shane Warman. Looking at the next matchup, Dalvin Cook, Todd Gurley versus Derrick Henry and Rex Burkhead. Does Derrick Henry even play this week? That is a question that is up in the air. The Titans, do they even play this week? Another question of the air, do they forfeit the game? If Derrick Henry is out, Trump Train, David Cole might as well forfeit the game. Again, advantage to Super Spreader Shane Warman. Now, this is where the advantage does come in. Does a little factor back, little Merrill Hodge, little flashback, Ron Jaworski, Jaws, teeth, dentist. Anyways, looking at it here, Adam Thielen, Moore, Andrews for Cole. That's a nice room. Jamison Crowder, Marquise Brown, Hunter Henry. That's an okay room for the Super Spreader Shane Warman. Have to give the advantage to David Cole there. Sorry, a little cramped up in here. Brees, a little tighter. Not that I'm getting bigger, actually getting skinner, getting slimmer. proud of myself for that, but unfortunately these pants for some reason are not having the best day for me. A little crotch right up, not quite a wedgie, little frontal wedgie. Anyways, here we go. Sorry for that, everybody. Looking at it here, we have the flex. Antonio Gibson, who's been an absolute surprise in fantasy this year, having a big year for the Washington football team, going up against Judy. Judy is questionable going into the matchup, though. If he does play, Drew Lock also questionable, has a chance to play this week. Could be a big week for him, though. I'm going to go Gibson in a PPR format. Looking at the defenses here, Patriots and Seahawks both have a nice day. Will Lutz versus Jason Myers. Got to give advantage to the super spreader. Projected 117.6 to 110.8 for Trump Train. I'm going to give the advantage to Shane Wormuth here and the super spreader. I think he spreads open the gates, the holy gates, the pearly gates, St. Peter, all that stuff, and gets himself a victory. Locks in a victory this week. Shane spreader, especially with the Derrick Henry thing. Who knows what's going to happen there. We move on to our matchup, and that's right, folks. We have our matchup of the week. We have the feed Big Cox versus Screwed Up and Drafted Odell. Will we feed Cox this week? Will we feed Odell with shit? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But anyways, I know. I'm Todd Kiper Jr. coming up here with Todd 10. Of course, this program is brought to you by Arrowhead Water. Arrowhead Water, when you're thirsty, drink Arrowhead. Looking at the matchup here, Kyler Murray versus Josh Allen. Both quarterbacks, elite running ability, elite throwing ability. These are both really good quarterbacks. Josh Allen had an MVP-type season so far, leading the Buffalo Bills. Does he play, though? Does that Tennessee team get played? I'm not sure. That's why I'm going to give the advantage to Kyler Murray despite the projections. Looking at the running back room, Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jackson, Melvin Gordon, Devin Singletary. Singletary having a surprisingly good year. Melvin Gordon having a great year with Phillip Lindsay out for the Broncos. Thinks he has a nice day. Advantage running back room, Nathan Sprunk. Now looking at the wide receivers here, DeAndre Hopkins, Odell Beckham, Dalton Schultz, Juju Smith-Schuster in the flex. Wow, that's a room. Dylan Crane screwed up and drafted Odell, but guess what? That screw up is turning into a really nice thing. That's like when you put, orange juice in vodka. It's called screw up, and then you put a little Sprite in it. That's called a screw up, and that's a good drink, and that's a good way to start your day, and that's what Dylan Crane's team is. He might as well call it screwed up and had a nice beverage. That's what his teammate should be. This is a tasty little sip of a beverage here in the wide receiver room. Looking over here in the other wide receiver room, Calvin Ridley, Stephon Diggs, Mo Alley Cox, Amari Cooper. Not a bad room yourself, Mr. Nathan Sprunk. Assembling a nice wide receiver room here. But I'm going to have to give the advantage to Crane. I just got a feeling about Crane's team this week. I think he's going to have a big week. Big week. Todd Kiper Jr. predicting big things. Roller coasters. Up, down. Here we go. Looking at the defense, 49ers going up against Miami. Got to give the advantage against Vegas and the Chiefs. Chiefs, I think, are going to have a little bit of a rougher time against Vegas. Derek Carr's a good quarterback. He's confident. He's at Kirk Cousins. Little advanced over Kirk Cousins. If you had to put him on depth chart, you go Kirk Cousins. Anyways, I don't know why I'm bringing Kirk into this conversation because we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs defense. The advantage does go to the 49ers and Nate Sprunk. Kickers, we'll see what happens. Robbie's good as gold for Dylan Crane. Again, I'm going to have to give the advantage to Dylan Crane this week. Again, another very professional turn there by me looking at the matchup. I'm going to give the advantage to Dylan Crane. I'm going to project him for a victory. 115.3 for Dylan Crane, 109.1 for Sprunk. I'm going to agree with those projections. Dylan Crane goes on to get his third win of the year. Sprunk goes on a 2-game losing streak, I believe. We'll see what happens. I'm going to take that Brunk. That would be not a 2-game losing streak for Nathan Sprunk. That's what I get. Should have done my research in ahead of time. Big, long day, lots of stuff. Crazy things happening in Todd Kiper Jr.'s life. Just trying to stay alive, struggle, pay the rent, all that fun stuff. Doing what he can. Doing what he can to survive, and that's why we're going to move on to our next matchup. This is a matchup that I think, I got to be honest with you, this is the matchup of the week. That's right, folks. We're doing Todd's matchup of the week, and that's because a lot is at stake here. We have our number 1 seed versus our number 10 seed. Now, the number 10 seed, that's right, Cactus Jack, Dan Ingram's team, was up at the top of the rankings last week. He's slipping. 2-0 team was number 1, now 2-2. Clyde Edwards, freshman Hilaire, lost to Routcraft defense team, although still ahead of him in the power rankings. Good squad. Dan Ingram's a fan of the squad. Can he beat the squad he is the biggest fan of? Let's see. Let's preview the matchup right now. Matt Ryan going up against Carolina. Teddy Bridgewater going up against Atlanta. A lot of eyes will be on that game in this matchup. Of course, taking on in the dirty South, land of T.I. I'm going to give the advantage to Matt Ryan. He's going to be down early, I think. Teddy Bridgewater having a nice year, but Matt Ryan having a little bit better year through the air. Advantage Dan Ingram there. Looking at the running back position, Kenyon Drake, Josh Jacobs versus Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Chris Carson. That's a great running back room for Cameron Herman. Really assembled the running back room. Carson going to have a nice day going up against what is a suspect Minnesota Vikings defense. Think Edwards-Helaire, of course, is a great PPR back. gets 6-7 catches advantage to Mr. Cameron Herman there. Looking at the wide receiver room, DK Metcalf, T.Y. Hilton, Evan Ingram, Josh Kelly in the flex position for Dan Ingram. Looking at Cameron, Robert Woods, Allen Robinson the second. Again, don't know why they don't call him Junior. George Kittle, Deontay Johnson. This is a tough one for me. The advantage clearly goes to George Kittle at the tight end position, so we're just going to skip right there. Not even going to talk about it. T.Y. Hilton, also, not even going to talk about it. Allen Robinson, definite advantage there. I think Metcalf is going to have a big day. I think Ingram needs him to have a big day to stay alive in this matchup. I'm guessing a 20-point game for DK Metcalf. That's right. Player of the week, DK Metcalf. That's right. Going to be big for Cactus Jack. Let's see if he can pull off the upset with a little help from DK, with a little help from his friends. Let's see if he can get by with a little help from his friends. That's your weekly Beatles reference. Anyways, looking at the flex position, Kelly, I think he's going to have a nice day. I think he's going to have a better day than Deontay Johnson. Going to get a lot of carries out of that Los Angeles Chargers backfield going up against the New Orleans Saints. It's a big game Monday night. All eyes will be on this matchup Monday night because this is our matchup of the week. All right, everybody, looking at it here. Looking at the defense, Buccaneers going up against Big Dick Nick in Chicago tonight versus the Ravens in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow having a decent season. Going to give the advantage to Cactus Jack there. Kicker's not as much. Daniel Ingram is missing his kicker, so I'm going to give the advantage. You know, his guy is Coop. He's throwing a Coop. He's trying to throw a Coop, pulling an upset this week. I am not going to pick an upset this week. Projected ESPN 117.8 to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Cactus Jack 108.8. I'm going to have to agree with that. The running back room and Kittle are going to be too much for Ingram to handle. He's going to need a big day for Metcalf. Big day for Matt Ryan. Think he gets both. If he delivers, this one will be close. Right down to the wire. I got too much at stake here. I still think the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is going to pull it out, although I would not be surprised if Cactus Jack pulls the upset in our matchup of the week. Now moving on to the next matchup. That's right. We have Slater and Goldman coming off a couple of, I think, really nice wins. Like nice back-to-back wins. Coming against the Oracle, or as I named him, the Swiss Cheese Matrix. Coming off his first victory of the season. Congratulations, Tom Huddle, getting off this schneid. That's big for you, big for your team, big for the confidence. A lot of big things happening for Tom Huddle. Engaged guy, congratulations. Looking at the matchup here. Also, Jordan Allen, another engaged guy. Dak Prescott versus Russell Wilson, two elite fantasy quarterbacks this year. Russell Wilson going against what is the worst secondary in football, though, in Minnesota. I think the advantage goes there, although I would see Dak having a big day, too. I think both quarterbacks could be putting up close to 30-point range this week. That's a heck of a quarterback match, and that's our quarterback battle of the week. That's right, a lot of stuff this week that's sponsored by Fill Your Air Balloons. Fill Your Air Balloons. When your balloon needs air, call Fill Your Air Balloons. Looking at the matchup here, Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor versus Duke Johnson, Jerick McKinnon. Gotta give the advantage to Slater and Goldman. What a running back room. Jonathan Taylor really benefiting from the extra carries he didn't receive when he wasn't going to receive because of Marlon Mack had, of course, the Brad Pitt injury, tore his Achilles. He is out for the rest of the year. Jonathan Taylor becoming a big, big asset there in Indianapolis. What it's turned out to be a very good Colts team. Mixon coming off a huge week. Think he has a big week, too. Again, running back advantage, Slater and Goldman. Looking at the wide receiver position, Will Fuller, Tyler Boyd, Travis Kelce, Devontae Parker going for Jordan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, Zach Ertz, Terry McLaurin going for the Oracle, Tom Humble. And this is where it gets interesting to me, folks. I really like that wide receiver room for Tom Humble this week. Kupp going against Washington, not a very good squad. Lockett again going against that bad secondary in Minnesota. Again, the double dip. That's what Mark Flower was going for last week. Didn't pan out for him. Let's see if it pans out for Tom Humble this week. I'm talking pan, bacon fried, eggs, all that kind of stuff. Zach Ertz is not going to have the advantage against Travis Kelce, but that's a clear advantage to Jordan Allen. Terry McLaurin, I think, is going to have a nice day. He's going to be down early to the Rams. You got a new quarterback there, Kyle Allen, throwing deep, throwing slants, throwing post routes. That's right, post office, UPS, your local UPS. This message is sponsored by the local UPS. The flex position, the flex match for the week, Terry McLaurin versus Devontae Parker, sponsored by the United States Postal Service. Congratulations, getting on the show, USPS. Looking at it here, Broncos versus Colts. Got to give the advantage to the Broncos defense, especially if they're having to go against Brian Hoyer or Jarrett Stidham. Although Stidham looked good, looked pretty decent, not bad, could have been worse. In his little bit of time against the Kansas City defense, did they pull off the pedal? Though, well, let's see. Colts going up against Cleveland. Cleveland coming off a huge week, so again, advantage Broncos. Butt kicker versus Bullock. Got to give the advantage to butt kicker. I'm going to go with Tom Hummel this week. I think he's going to end the two-game winning streak of Slater and Goldman. Hummel's going to have a huge week with the Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett combo. Jerick McKinnon going to have a nice day if Mostert doesn't come back. Cooper Kupp going to have a huge day. Terry McLaurin going to have a huge day. Look for Hummel to have a huge Monday night, Tuesday morning celebration. He's coming off a victory, moving himself to 2-3, keeping himself in playoff contention. And of course, that brings us to our last matchup of the week. That's right, the Count of Chicago, the Admiral, the General, the Sailor, whatever you want to call him, the Privateer. Count of Chicago, Mark Flower coming up 1-3 versus the 3-1 team. That's right, Return of the Walrus. He is the Walrus. Gajoob looking at the quarterback matchup. Joe Burrow going up against the Baltimore defense. That's a tough matchup. Ben Roethlisberger going up against Philly. Now, usually I would go with Burrow, but due to matchups, I'm going with Big Ben. His arm is back. He's still big. He still has the name Ben. There was rumor that his name was going to be changed to like Reginald or something like that. His wife was like, no, I don't want to be married to a Reginald Roethlisberger. I love the name Ben. You're sticking with it, and that's what he did. That's what Big Ben did. He stuck with his name. And I'm surprised. I'm happy to see Golterman sticking with him this week in the matchup, giving the advantage to him at the quarterback position. Looking at the running backs here, Mike Davis, David Montgomery going tonight. James Robinson, Miles Sanders going for Max Golterman. Going to give the advantage to Golterman again here. The running back room is good. Robinson having a sneaky good year for the Jaguars. Again, will be down early, getting those PPR points, getting those passes, catching the ball, doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that's called the Harlem Shuffle. Anyways, looking at the wide receiver room, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, who Kohler is desperately trying to get, Sammy Watkins, Mike Evans, Hayden Hurst, Nyheim Hines, Deebo Samuel, Darren Waller, again, advantage Golterman. This is a tough matchup for Flower this week. A lot of good matchups. If A.J. Brown plays, that is big. That is big. If A.J. Brown doesn't play, Mark Flower, you're right back in this matchup. I can already tell you, I'm picking Max Golterman. That's a little preview, a little sneak peek. That's what they call in the film industry, called a sneak peek. When you come in early, you see a movie, you're like, oh, that looks good. Gotta go see it November 21st, 2020. That's what this is. I'm sneak peeking the victory. Anyways, Darren Waller, definite advantage over Hayden Hurst. Mike Evans probably the really advantage there against Jefferson. If A.J. Brown plays, I think he has advantage over Watkins. But if he doesn't, Watkins could have a really nice day against Vegas. Usually does well against the Raiders. Looking at the defense here, Buffalo going against Tennessee again. Who knows if that happens? Steeler D, elite defense. I think they pick off Carson Wentz a couple times. Sorry, Dan Ingram. I think the Steelers win that game. Looking at the kicker, though, this is where Flower has it as advantage. Justin Tucker is absolute dynamite. He's got a leg of gold, a leg of goodness. That's what he does. Golden goodness, McDonald's fries, crisping them up. Justin Tucker, big advantage. He had a big game from him, Mark Flower, for the victory. Again, I think Max Golterman wins. He is projected to win 108.9 to 100.1, although I think it's closer than that. I think this is a 112.3 to 108.4 game. It's going to be down to the wire, down to Monday night, riding on if Tennessee plays. Let's see if they play. Anyways, folks, I am Todd Kiper Jr. Sorry for the delay in the video, but I am excited to be here, excited to be back for another week of football. Hope you all enjoy. Hope you all are doing well. Thank you for watching Todd's Tip.